Hello, everybody. I just wanted to talk quickly about Lesson 6 with you. If you're stuck at all, don't forget you can stop by and see me in the math lab, or if you're hybrid, we can talk about it in class. But I did want to talk about the very last part of Lesson 6, creating your scene, which we're going to build on in other lessons. So you really want to make sure you get all of the components put in here. So if you haven't noticed already, sequencing is so important. So whatever you want in the back of your screen needs to go at the top. If you want certain shapes in front of that visible, you put it below it. If you want, for example, you'll notice I have a rectangle in just a minute. The color that you want that to be has to go above it. If you're putting in any text, information about the text has to be above it. For example, the text size, the color of the text. And as far as your sprites go, which we're now able to animate, these are some of the sprites that I have here. You need to define those. If say you want to adjust it in here, say you want to do something to this mouse, but you don't want to lose it. If you click on it and make a copy, then you can, draw and do what you need to. Because otherwise, if you make a mistake, there's really no back button. So if you want to alter something, make sure that you create a copy first. All right. Okay, so let's go back to this. So basically in 16, 17, 18, those are all linked together. Make sure that you complete those. So for 16, you just had to create a background to fill the screen with color, add any necessary shape commands to draw the non-sprite elements. So I did a sky blue background, and then I did a rectangle towards the bottom, and I wanted that to be white to look like snow. All right, so let's run it and see. You'll see the other things. So here's just my background and then my white rectangle. I also added a few other things. It was snowing out, so I figured I'd do something with snow. For lesson 7 or part 17, you had to create all of your sprites in the animation tab, which is here. And again, you can just add them very easily. You can, if you found a picture you want to use from the internet, you can do that. And there's actually a pretty cool site. So let's say you want to upload an image from the internet, but you don't want to have to fill in all the background. If you go to remove.bg, and let's say you go find an image. So, and there's nothing you have to download as far as that site goes. So let's say you want to find an image of a kite. I think that was one of them, right? So I'm going to go to kite. I'm going to go to images. I'm just going to choose, I don't know, let's choose this guy. All right, so I can save image as and save it somewhere on your computer. If you want, you can just do it in your drive if you're on your Chromebook. And I'm just going to name that kite. And I'm going to put it in this folder so I can easily find it. Oops. Save image as. Oops. Kite. I'm not going to change the type of file. Save. All right, so now it's saved. So now if I go to remove background, if I just added this image into code.org, you're going to see that the background is there. And then you can't get rid of it unless you erase it all, and it could take a lot of time. So rather than do that, if you go to remove background from image, you upload your image here. I'm going to go to where I found it, so kite. And it automatically will remove that background. So anything you see checkered now is going to show up clear on your screen. So I just downloaded that. All right. So now I'm going to go to code.org if I want to upload that specific image. choose it. Hopefully it's small enough file. If not, you have to change it. But now it's there. If I would have just added the kite without doing that, let me just show you real quick. Even if it's white background, this whole thing's going to show up in your program. So if you want just the kite to be there, you want to remove the background. All right. So anyways, let's go back to this. So if I go back to my code, and it's kind of neat. Once you want to set your variable first. Let me shrink this up a bit. Set your variable and give it a name. So my son was here. That was my sprite. And then you just below it, oops, you want to go to sprites. So you drag this block over, okay, name it, say where you want it located on the screen. Remember, if you hit show grid, if you arrow over any of these, if you hover, it'll tell you what the values are, but remember it goes over to 400. So every line is 50. Your X and your Y, so your horizontal and vertical. And then your animation, you bring that over and say what animation you want it to be. So let's say I want that kite to be there. If I just hit this drop-down menu, wherever I see my kite, it'll change. So if I do the original kite without changing the background and hit run, see how it's got that whole block there. If I change it now to the kite where I removed the background, now you don't have that. Now, if you want to change the size, you change the scale right here. So this is 0.5. It's the sun I'm dealing with, so 0.5. If you realize that it's too big or too small, you can change it. So if I changed this to 2, now my kite's a little bit too big. But if I go back to my sun, because that's what I had there, I just wanted to show you the background there. All right, my sun's too big. If I don't have a scale in there at all, the sun is still bigger than I want it. So that's why I drag this over here, put it underneath sun. I'm gonna, instead of saying sprite, you need to change it to sun. And I'm just going to shrink it down to half its size, so 0.5. You'll be doing that quite a bit with these programs. All right, so let me see, I also added a bear. You'll notice I changed its size, its location. I added in this ground snow, and I played around with where to put it. Notice you can go beyond 400. It's all dependent on what you want it to look like. I added in a little mouse, and then for the last part of this, you had to add in some text. So that's what I did there. Again, you're going to see the same exact code on this page, but the size, the color, and what I want it to look like. You can easily change the color, and it'll change both. If you want them to be different colors, then you would put another fill above the other text. So if I just hit run now, it changed the size again. Or excuse me, the color. All right, so make sure you finish that up. If you have questions on any of it, please be sure to stop and ask me. I'm happy to help. Have a great day.